Hello there. Yes, indeedy. I'd like to say what's up to everybody out there. Hello. Salute. Yeah, back in it, man. Hope everybody had a great day today. A little chilly down here in the Sunshine State. A little brisk. A little bit of brisk weather. But I don't mind it, man. I come alive when the mercury drops. Best believe it. Anyway, hello. Hopefully everybody had a wonderful day and your day is winding down now. Appreciate you tuning in. I just want to really quickly before we get into this, I'm going to share a really quick story because I think it could be of value to you. Now, there's a person in the audience that's going to she's going to grit her teeth because she's already heard the story twice. And she's here. Say hello to the folks, baby. There it is. Now, sit over there in silence. No, but seriously. We were... So it was a little bit colder than usual today, so I was kind of hanging out at the house today on an unofficial day off from work. And, early in the afternoon, we get a knock on the door. And usually whenever there's a knock on the door and I'm home, my first question to the lady of the house is, are you expecting anybody? Now, look, I can be a little what they call paranoid, maybe, I don't know. But I take security at home very seriously. I do. I do. But anyway, so she said she wasn't expecting anybody. I go over to the door, and it's purportedly one of these guys that goes door to door to tell you about how much your windows suck, and that you're lucky because for this week and this week only, they're in your neighborhood giving out free information. So I looked at this gentleman, and the first thing I noticed is that he was covered in tattoos. I mean, face, neck, hands, wrists, everything tatted up. Next thing I notice on his throat is what looks like the tattoo call sign of a particular gang originating from Mexico and having the number after 12 in it. So, I'm a little bit more alert. And so he's like, we got this information, da-da-da. And I'm like, no, we're good. And he's like, are you sure? Are you going to be around tomorrow? We can come by. I said, nah, we're good. So he goes, okay. And he walks off. Now, after I shut the door, I just kind of hung out there for a little bit before I went upstairs to retrieve the lawgiver. Yes, the lead pill applicator. Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen. But I guess if he were and wanted to break into the house, I guess I could have just told him that this is a crime-free zone and called the police and waited in the house with him peacefully until the police arrived. But luckily that situation was avoided. Just, I'm just telling you guys that just so you keep your head on the swivel, man. That's how shit happens, man. All jokes aside, it's usually quick like that. And if you're a guy that works during the day or has a specific schedule, man, you just got to be aware of that. Especially if there's people you care about that you leave behind in the house. Anyway, that aside, I did not come here to talk to you about that, but be careful. These are trying times. It occurs to me, the people who say trying times, you know who says that? Oh, yeah, these are trying times. These are very trying times. People that are well off. The only people who call trying times are people that are well off. This has not been, I have yet to hear a broke person say these are trying times. I hear broke people say, I'm fucking broke. I hear people who aren't broke say, oh yeah, these are certainly trying times. Trying. Anyway, we are at Newsweek's website tonight. So everybody put your bullshit detectors on. Make sure they're charged up. And we're talking about my main man, Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis. And he is attempting to take on social media by himself. Well, I guess he's wielding him in the state of Florida, right? Him in the state of Florida politicians, I guess. I don't know. Let's dive on in. The title reads, Ron DeSantis proposes fining social media companies $100,000 if they ban state lawmakers. Social media companies would be subject to daily fines under a new law proposed by Republican Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. DeSantis introduced a proposal to punish social media companies to suspend state politicians' accounts. In a press conference at the Florida Capitol on Tuesday, he referred to big tech as a monopoly that controls an unimaginable flow of information and is inherently discriminatory against conservative viewpoints. Quote, the message is loud and clear, DeSantis said. When it comes to the elections in Florida, big tech should stay out of it. The governor initially introduced the idea for the new law on January 6th, the same day a violent insurrection at the U.S. Capitol killed 5 people. What does that have? Please notice how they shoehorn that in there. That actually has nothing to do with this article at all. This article is about big tech sponsorship. And if you want to talk about that the bill was supposed to be introduced on January 6th, that's all you got to say. But we got to shoehorn the violent insurrection at the U.S. Capitol. Facebook and Twitter, among other social media platforms, subsequently banned then-President Donald Trump's accounts. These social media companies and others have said Trump incited violence at the Capitol and violated their terms of use. Their terms of useless. DeSantis, who campaigned for Trump in the 2020 presidential election, said that tech companies, quote, unequal application of their standards to remove users is a form of, quote, discrimination and political bias. In direct response to social media companies' actions, DeSantis' Transparency in Technology Act will include specific provisions to prevent political manipulation and reinstate a sense of choice among social media users. The law will be spearheaded by the state's House Commerce Committee and would subject technology companies to a $100,000 daily fine until a candidate's access to a platform is restored. Big tech shouldn't be in the business of censoring or deplatforming candidates, but rather voters should be able to make that choice independently, DeSantis said. The guy says a lot of things that make sense. Technology companies would also need to report any promotion of one candidate over another as a political campaign contribution subject to regulation by the Florida Elections Commission. All right. Big tech. Quote, big tech has a duty to allow different views on their platforms. No one should be excluded, but let's be clear. They are targeting conservatives and engaging in political censorship, said Florida Senate President Wilton Simpson on Tuesday. The technology community reacted with concern to DeSantis' proposal. Quote, these proposals would stifle online platforms' ability to update community rules to combat crimes, violence, and hate speech. There's that phrase again, hate speech, said James Hines, Southern Regional Director of State Government Affairs for the Internet Association, wrote in an email to Newsweek. Hines added that the law would be discouraging for business development in Florida. Quote, at a time when local officials across the state are trying to attract new jobs and investment for the state's emerging tech and startup hubs, creating a private right of action may be good for trial lawyers. But it will cause job creators to think twice about the long-term business climate of the Sunshine State, Sunshine State should have been capitalized. That's Florida's name. All right, let's move forward. Under the law's provisions, technology companies must follow Floridian users Under the law's provisions, technology companies must allow Floridian users to opt out of algorithms that allegedly suppress or influence the content they see. Users must be given a 30-day notice when their account has been blocked or suspended, as well as an explanation for their removal. The law will allow those individuals and the state attorney general to file suits against technology companies for violating the law's tenets. Okay, so far so good. Quote, I believe that where the governor and the Republican leadership is today, I messed that one up. I believe that where the governor and Republican leadership is today is more of a knee-jerk reaction and for politicking and not real policy. State Agricultural and Consumer Services Commissioner Nikki Fried said at a press conference on Tuesday at the state capitol. This is definitely something that needs to go on the federal side. Well, that's not surprising. Nikki Fried is a liberal. She's a Democrat. So, and you know what really probably just eats at her is that she's the one who signs off on everybody's concealed carry permit down here in Florida. So shut up, bitch, and sign my gun card. Meanwhile, the state also relies... Wait, this is a typo. This is not me messing this up. Meanwhile, the state also relies investments in technology companies to pay... relies on investments in technology companies to pay retired Floridians through the Florida retirement system. Returns on $8 billion worth of investments. Good God, man. They need somebody to read this. This is not a lot of typos in this. Returns on $8 billion worth of investments in Twitter, Apple, Facebook, and Google exceeded 30% last year, according to the State Board of Administration. The new law would compel the state to sell these stocks, potentially depriving retirees of pension funds. According to the Associated Press, Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg said on a call last week with that the company was attempting to, quote, turn down the temperature and discourage divisive conversations and communities. People don't want politics and fighting to take over their experience on our services, end quote. Facebook declined to comment on Newsweek's request for a statement. Newsweek has reached out to DeSantis and Twitter for comment. End of article. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. And for those of you who weren't completely familiar with what he did, what Ron DeSantis was proposing, you might have been bracing for impact, looking for some kind of crazy conservative handicap built into this bill. No, actually, what he's just asking is that they can't operate like an autocracy. If you remove people, you got to tell them why. You can't just brainwash people, right? Give people the right to say, hey, I don't want to see CNN, MSN, NBC. I don't want to see all that. I'm tired of seeing Brian Stelter popping up on my shit. That's it. Just giving a little bit of freedom back to the people. That is literally all this is, folks. And, of course, big tech not being able to knock off people's Twitter accounts, when they're running for office. Oh, let's say here in Florida. And allow their competition to win. So, aside from that, this is pretty straightforward, it looks like. And it looks like something that everybody should be on board with. Especially because if you haven't noticed, if you're a little slow in the uptake, for the people on the other side, they're coming for you now, right? They've effectively, Donald Trump's gone. All of the rabble rousers on the right, for the most part, the more vocal ones are gone. And the ones that aren't, they're just, I mean, hell, I got a strike for a video about black people saying that white people are terrible. I mean, let that sink in. But for all intents and purposes, if you've been on the left enjoying the benefits of this censorship, unfortunately, that pendulum is about to swing back and hit you right in your ugly mush. And I'll be here to tell you I told you so. Because it's not about you. You served a purpose. Again, please, it is almost identical to one of these subplots of Dark Knight Rises and how Bane used the politicians and used the construction company for what they could do for him, furthering his mission. And when he was done with them, he killed them. And that is literally what we are seeing right now. Well, not literally, excuse me. It is not literal. That is figuratively what we're seeing right now play out with the left and its infatuation with the quote-unquote far left or the neo-left. They served a good purpose. They served to get people agitated. They served to get people emotional. They served to make Donald Trump, quote-unquote, look bad. They served to be the foot soldiers and do the, quote, dirty work, right? To go out there and get arrested and fight people. And, well, if we scare those conservatives away from voting, well, I mean, we would never say that here at the establishment. No. We would never do that. But somebody should. I don't know, neo-left. Nudge, nudge. So you served a purpose for them. You are no longer needed. In fact, you're detrimental to that purpose. If you're a person that helps someone displace prior leadership, the first person they will kill once they retain leadership is you, because quite frankly, you by your existence are a threat to them. How did we meet? Oh yeah, that's right. You displaced leadership. Antifa, Black Lives Matter. How did we meet? Oh yeah, you guys cause chaos and make people turn people against the current administration. Well, we don't necessarily need that right now, nor do we want it. And if we can serve you up on a platter, if we can serve you up and do some of the things to you that we've done to the other side, then we can get some of those stupid conservatives to come back over and see that we're for everybody. Well, look, I'm all for this war against big tech. I just don't see, it's become somewhat platitudinous amongst some of the commentators here on YouTube to say that, it's too late and this and that. Well, look, sometimes you get a late start on things. Sometimes, things are not perfect, right? It's humanity, it's life, it's how it is. So I have to say this. Should this war have been waged a long time ago? Absolutely. Is it too late now? Well, at least in my opinion, it's not too late until you're dead. You still got time to do something. So let's see. Let's all hope for the best with my man, Iron Ron DeSantis. I'll tell you what. I have sworn off Republicans, but he's done pretty well. He's done pretty well in opening Florida up and being able to withstand the criticism from the New York media, specifically New York, D.C., L.A., all of the people who do weird things to each other and their friends and claim to know more about the world than all of us. So he gained my respect for not buckling when pretty much every media source on the liberal side was focused on him. CNN was running stories on him, and Twitter, they were going in on him as well. But he held firm, and he did what was right for the state of Florida. And he earned my respect in that. Then when the big sham happened on Election Day, I was waiting to see what he would do or how he would weigh in. On the do side, not too much, but he did throw his support behind President Trump. I will defer to him in that regard and assume that maybe there was something bigger behind the scenes or something more, not bigger in terms of seeing a bigger picture, but maybe something preventing him that he had knowledge about that I don't, right? I'm not going to assume that I know more about him and his position than him. which is not very common these days. You get a lot of people who just because they have a social media handle, they think, I don't know, like they think they can tell everybody how to do their job. It's amazing. But anyway, when that all happened, I kind of backed off of Republicans in general because most of them are useless, and I felt that way for a long time. But I like DeSantis. I do. I think then he does this. So, all right, you know what? We'll see. We'll see, Mr. DeSantis, but you're going in the right direction, sir. You're going in the right direction. 100,000 a pop to punish social media if they ban state lawmakers. It's a start. It's not you or I, but it is a start. And the more I looked at this, the more, I don't know that, because some people may be upset that it's not for the citizen, the private citizen. Well, look, he may be looking out for you in that regard, because I just don't know that people would really understand what they'd be getting themselves into by trying to sue Facebook. And namely, not understanding how much money they would need to have and how much time they would need to have to be able to sue Facebook. And then there again at the end, what are you really getting? You can pour hundreds of thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars into this rabbit hole of suing Facebook. Wait months, if not years. Get your case heard. Win. And then what? They put your comment back up. They reinstall your account. They pay you what? A couple $100. Maybe they pay for your court fees. Okay. But what was it worth it is what I'm asking. Unless there's some kind of legal principle where you can hook them on some kind of a suit where they have to shell out millions of dollars, but usually you have to show some kind of pain and suffering for that, which I don't know. I think social media is making people crazy anyway, so maybe there's something in there for it. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that will put a fine point on this. Again, hoping for the best here. It's definitely a step in the right direction, but we're going to need a lot more of it. And, but we'll see where it goes. We'll see where it goes. I do like that social media, big tech is in the crosshairs, so to speak. I just don't know why this couldn't happen sooner. I don't know why none of this could happen when Donald Trump was in office. I don't know why none of this could happen within the first 2 years when Donald Trump was in office, when the Republicans when they held everything. So, and when I think about that, it makes me think that this is kind of a game, a political theater game, where it's like, we're going to pretend to fight for you, but not really. I don't know. We'll see what happens, man. That's all we can do. Anyway, thank you for tuning in today. I am going to enjoy some of this Mongolian beef that my woman made me for keeping her safe today. Until the next time, ladies and gentlemen, peace. Nikki Fried. Keep signing those concealed carry permits, biatch.